Good afternoon. This is Carlos Samaniego, enrolled agent. Wow, it's been a long time since I've gone live, and I'm excited to be here. If you don't know who I am, my name is Carlos Samaniego. I'm an enrolled agent with the IRS, and I solve tax problems. That's kind of the big thing that I do. And I am coming to you live here, trying to get my notes here. Coming to you live here because, as you can see, this is not a polished presentation. Actually, it's been so long since I've been doing this. It's been a while. Again, if you don't know who I am, I help people who owe IRS tax debt or California franchise tax debt, or who I call Cali Claw. So when you can't pay or you haven't filed your tax returns, been doing this for a long time. And I've decided to kind of make an announcement today. And the announcement that I'm making today is I'm planning on doing a live show. I've had so many people reach out to me on a regular basis. They got questions. A lot of times they'll text me, they'll email me. Heck, they'll bump into me while I'm walking around town here in Redlands, and they just got questions. Had a question that just came to me via text today regarding a tax lien, an IRS tax lien with somebody trying to refinance, and they have a tax lien, and they wanted to know what's the best thing, what's the best route to go to resolve that. So I've decided to kind of do this live show. Tax Debt Live is what I'm calling it. It's going to start this coming Sunday, and you might be thinking, "Wow, you're doing it on a weekend." Yeah, I'm actually going to do this thing on a weekend. And the reason I'm doing it on a weekend is going to be at 6 o'clock Pacific every Sunday, where I'm going to jump on here for 30, 45 minutes max. Don't want to take too much of your time, but just to give you the opportunity to ask questions. Maybe you got a notice of what to do next. We're so bombarded with so much, what's the best way of putting it? AI, especially right now. In fact, I even do AI videos. And no, this is not me doing AI. This is the real version of Carlos, not the AI version of Carlos. I actually made myself a cup of coffee here. But I think you guys want to have a real person, a real face that you can actually talk to. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just breaking the seal. Consider this an official announcement for Tax Debt Live. And as I mentioned earlier, here's the truth when it comes down to tax resolution, tax representation. You know, dealing with tax problems is kind of one of the scariest things that anybody can personally go through. And you know, if you've actually gotten IRS letters in the mail or state tax collection letters in the mail, it's scary, right? And most of the information that you're seeing out there is just plain out garbage. I mean, it's a sales pitch or it's both. I've had so many people over the last few months, you know, contact someone that it's typically they hear it on the radio, on television, and they'll contact them and they're pitching them something that they don't even qualify for. Trying to collect, and literally I've seen this, $45,000 to get started, you know, $20,000 to get started. I mean, it seems like they're just throwing numbers out there, and I'm done with that. It's just if you can watch this ahead of time and you know, prevent yourself from getting kind of caught up in that web of garbage that's out there, all the better. You know, I've actually sat across IRS revenue officers right here in my office more times than most people, right? It's typically we're actually going to their office, but recently they're coming to my office, and I enjoy that. I've seen people sit in my chairs, couples, and cry and talk about their tax problems and the stress that it's creating. In fact, the girl that works at our front desk in our building, I overheard her tell somebody, "Oh, he's a counselor for people with tax problems. And it's true. I kind of do feel like that. I'm a counselor. Maybe it's in my background because, as many of you guys know, I do have a medical background, worked as an Army medic and a EMT. In fact, I even got trained as a Army psychiatric technician. So maybe it's already boiled into my blood regarding that. But what you don't know about me here is, and you can see this, I'm umming and don't really, I have some notes here just to kind of keep me on track here. But what I want to do is just, you guys to be able to hear me answer some questions and see what we could do to help out. Obviously I won't be able to solve your tax problems on here, but if anything, maybe give you direction of where you got to go. I know a lot of people won't join us live. And actually, I don't even think I can actually get you live here, but you can definitely send me your messages, the questions that you might have. You can always email them to me at carlos@taxdebtconsultant.com. Send them through my Facebook page. Whatever you got to do to get me those questions, just get them to me, and I'll make sure I answer these things. I'm not going to have a teleprompter. There's not going to be any sales pitch whatsoever. Again, every Sunday at 6 o'clock, that's the goal. And again, remember, life is life, and something happens and I might have to reschedule it. I'll try to jump on here to make sure to let you know that I can't make it. But I think Sunday nights, somebody asked me, why are you doing it on Sunday nights? I think Sunday nights are when the anxiety really hits hardest, right? The weekend's almost over. You're going back to reality, going back to work on Monday, and you start, if you're like me, your head just starts to spin on Sunday. Well, what do you got to deal with the week? What's going on? Maybe you're actually finally going through your mail for the week on that weekend, and you see that IRS letter or two or three. Monday's coming about, and you're lying in bed thinking about, well, what do I do about this IRS letter? What does that thing even mean? Or even worse, why am I getting this letter from the state of California, the California Franchise Tax Board? I call those the real scary letters, right? That you never want to avoid. But I'm going to be here in that moment when those questions pop up and you want to jump on and just ask questions on what's going on, what's happening, what should I be doing. Another thing I'm planning on doing, and I might do it just real briefly, is cover a topic. Maybe we might not have a whole lot of questions, but maybe I'll bring up a topic. What is that certified letter that you got in the mail, or as we call the CP 504 or letter 11 letters? Maybe we'll be talking about how the offer and compromise really work. What happens when an IRS revenue officer is assigned to your case, or how a California franchise tax levy hits dramatically different than the IRS. A lot of people don't realize when they come directly after your bank account, you got 10 days to do something. Typically with IRS levies, it's about a 21-day time frame. So we'll talk about those type of subjects. And maybe what I'll do is just kind of open it up that way, and then we'll just jump right into questions. I can answer them live. No charge, no pitch. Again, this is just to be something informative for you to get to know who I am, how I work. If what I'm talking about sounds like if I'm talking about something and it sounds like your situation, I'll tell you where to go. What I always tell people when they have a tax situation, go to taxdebttriage.com. I created this specific website just for you. And what it does is that you just answer some very basic questions in there, and it gives you an idea of how bad your situation is, what villain is coming after you. And when I talk about villains, maybe I'll bring this up, and I know I'll go more in detail in one of my things. I've already said that, having tax problems or tax situations is a scary thing. It's almost like you're going into a tax underworld that most people don't see. And here's what I mean by that. The reason most people don't see this tax underworld because I would say most people tend to file their taxes, tend to pay their taxes. So they never get to see the underside of the IRS, the underworld, the tax underworld. In fact, this image right here, right over my shoulder, these are the characters in the tax underworld that I call them. So, but when you're in the tax underworld, you have these villains. Cali Claw, who this is one of my books. The California shut down Cali Claw. This big scary character is my representation of what the state of California is. It's a big monster that comes fast and furious, and they try to beat the IRS coming after your account. And then you have the IRS, the collector, the behemoth. It's this machine that does not stop, that keeps on coming after you when you owe taxes or you don't file your tax returns. And there's other characters that I'll bring up in the future of what's it like being in the tax underworld. Kind of very similar. If you guys seen the show, oh my goodness, why did I just go blank? The show Stranger Things. Thank you, Liz. Liz is working back here. If you've seen the show Stranger Things, they have the upside down. It's that world that exists opposite of the real world. Well, the tax underworld is the same thing. It's the IRS that you don't see unless you get yourself in trouble. So we'll talk more about that stuff. And I just want to have fun with this thing. But as I mentioned earlier, and let's just get back. Again, we're not scripted here. You got a tax problem? Go to TaxDebtTriage.com. It will tell you how bad your problem is, what villains are coming after you, and what we can and how we can actually help out in that way. Let's grab my notes here. And then again, the rest of the show, what we'll be talking about, my plan is to answer a few questions every week that might be popping up. Like I know there's been a few questions that just came in this last week. I'm actually going to bring up these questions this Sunday. If I haven't filed in years, and I'm talking 6, 7, 8, 9, 19 years, is it too late? What should I do? Big question. Make sure you got to make sure you do the right thing there. The other question that we had is, if the IRS is threatening to levy my paycheck, can it be stopped? Or if the California Franchise Tax Board has sent a levy order for my paycheck, can that be stopped? Both answers are dramatically different. The other question I have, can I really settle my tax debt for less than what I owe? We all see it on TV, right? Offer and compromise, late night TV makes it sound like everybody qualifies. Here's the thing. The IRS does have a program for that, but there's very strict qualifications for it. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Again, we're already at 13 minutes here. See, time can actually fly. I didn't want to go longer than 15 minutes. So here's what's happening. To recap, this is just a taste of what we're going to start doing this Sunday at 6 p.m. Right here at TaxDebtLive. We're going to come on live, answer those questions, and just have a talk. Grab a cup of coffee. Well, it's 6 o'clock in the evening, so you might not want to drink coffee then. Have yourself a hot tea. Bring your beverage of choice, and let's just talk. If you're watching this right now and your stomach is kind of tightening up because you recognize your own situation and you have some questions, here's what you need to do. 2 things. First, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. So when I go live Sunday, that you're not going to miss that. So subscribe, hit the bell. You're going to be notified on Sunday when I actually get to do that. Second, if you need help right now, like you have a 911 situation or you got a certified letter in the mail, 2 things. You can call our office. I'm going to give you the phone numbers right now. You can call our office, 909-570-1103. We answer this. Our secretary's service answers this 24 hours a day. Just let them know you got a 911 situation and you need to talk to us. Call that number. If you just want to book an appointment, find a time that fits your schedule, just go to calltaxea.com. Simplest way. So if you got an urgent, important situation going on, call us or book your appointment. Again, you can book your appointment at calltaxea, or the other thing you can actually do is just call us at 909-570-1103. With that, I'm Carlos Samaniego. I'll see you this Sunday night at 6 o'clock. Bring your scariest tax questions. I already got 3 I got to answer. I'll be answering those 3 this Sunday. With that, talk to you guys later. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye for now.